Darlene here. Welcome to my channel and welcome to Shed Wars. We are a gardening community teaching the world how to garden. So I hope you enjoy today's video. Are you ready? Let's go. Greetings. Darlene here. One of the things that I've been needing to do is to make my second, for the month of May, video for Shed Wars. And I've been contemplating what my video should be regarding. I thought maybe it would be my planting my corn. My corn is up like, so far. I can't tell if I'm showing you. There we go. But we're still having some cold nights, like 39, all the way between 39 and 50. And corn really wants it to be 50 and above. So I thought, no, I'm not going to do corn this time. And by the time I do June, I may already have my corn planted. We'll just see how that goes. I thought, what could I talk about that would be relevant? And I thought, the garden in general is going to be relevant to everybody who gardens. How are things doing? What do I need to do to make my garden better? I have some plants that still haven't been planted. I have some basil plants and I have some tomatoes. I thought what I would bring you along with today is showing you the tomatoes and showing you a little bit of why I have things in my garden the way I have them. Because that's just as important as planting them as how they're planted. And you can see the sun going in and out today. It's supposed to be in the high 60s today, and it's approaching that, but it cools off every time the sun goes down. So let's get busy. I'll turn you around here and you watch, and I may end up speeding this up for playback, but we'll see. Now, let's see what we're looking at here. All right, trying to get my camera adjusted. The first thing I'm going to do, and I know you can't see me, but hopefully you can hear me. Some of the stuff in my greenhouse needs watering majorly. So I'm going to aim some water that direction. We've had some rain the last couple of days, but the stuff in the greenhouse obviously didn't get the benefit of that. What you doing? I just saw hubby come out on the porch, but he went back in. Most of what I've already planted is doing fine. There's a couple of things that aren't, and that's okay, that happens. So I'm going to take one of the plants that I have sitting over here and replace. Can I reach? There we go. Replace one of the ones that looks like it bit the dust. Here, this one looks like it bit the dust. When you plant tomatoes, and this one's called a Hampson. I've got several in this container. They're kind of tangled up here. Get them untangled. Okay, here's a nice big one. Okay, so I'm going to plant this deep. Oh, it's been in the pot a long time. I have some more dirt over here that I'm going to throw on top of that so that it's buried a little deeper than it looks now and out of the range of the camera again. But I'll take a nice big handful of this soil, and I use black gold all-purpose potting mix for my soil. That's really about the only thing that's available other than Miracle Grow. The store where I get this doesn't carry Miracle Grow. If I go to Walmart, it's Miracle Grow. I'm gonna get this out of the way so I can. Alright, and the problem I have is with my sense of balance. It has to do with old age, I suspect. Okay, so that looks a lot better. Now with this one I didn't put, when I planted these other tomatoes, I put in some bone meal and blood meal. This one I'm just putting in without the extra. I am going to trim off that lower branch though. Okay, and this one that is biting the dust, I'm just going to leave it there for now, but I don't think it'll do anything. And I have room for something right in the middle. This one is a Bonnie Best. And as I bend over, I'm going to use a shovel for that one. As I bend over, I hope I'm not showing you my rear end. that one also I will add some extra soil around it. I'll have to decide where to plant these other ones. There's another plant right over there that looks like it might not be doing real well. And I have to keep in mind not planting them too close to each other. All right, let me talk a little bit about the other things I have currently planted in here with those tomatoes and why. I have around the rectangle of this trellis peas, and in the middle there I have a basil plant, and I have 2 pepper plants, and then tomatoes in each corner. And I think I can plant that tomato right there, right in between those 2 corners. There's also a marigold down here, and I'm going to plant more marigolds, and I will have to do those by seed because I don't have any more in the process of growing. But right down here I have, see how that one tomato is not looking real good, so I will replace that with one of those that I have laying there. And over here I have a tomato and I think it's a basil of some sort. I don't know, they both look like tomatoes. I'll see. I'll plant them somewhere anyway. I think these tomatoes that I have still in pots right here, I'm going to, they are a type of Roma, so they will need to be planted away from these so I can keep track of determinate and indeterminate tomatoes. Here I have basil in this container, and I can plant more around this area, and I can place some basil in any empty spots in any of my towers. I also have some pots that currently have nothing in them. I can put more basil and the remainder of my tomatoes in there. All right, I got most of what I planned to plant out here planted. And another thing that's extremely important when you plant something new is to water it in. So that's what you're going to see me doing next, is watering in. So let me get my, oops, sorry, but I think I sprayed you. The things that were already planted are a little thirsty too, so they getting watered as well. They got rained on a little bit yesterday. But they're out here in the full sun. The onions that I planted around the perimeter here are starting to come up. I planted sets. Onions are supposed to be helpful in keeping some certain kinds of bugs off of the garden. And I've heard that rabbits don't like to go across. The other thing that I'm going to need to do to my garden, and every gardener needs to know that this is part of gardening, is to come out and pull the weeds. My weeds are mostly grass, as you can see. And I have a few bindweeds too that just love to think that I love them, but I don't. I'm going to go ahead and turn off this because you know what watering looks like. So let me explain a little better. As you could tell, my garden is really small. Let's see, when I measured it, it was 12 by 22. And part of that is a walkway. So that's real small. And then I have a couple of other smaller areas in my yard that do a certain amount of gardening also. But where you saw me today was my main garden. So what I've been trying to practice this year is companion planting. When I plant my tomatoes and my basil and my peppers, my onions, I have some borage, strawberries there too, and marigolds. And then I have some other pollinators down on the edge there where you saw lots of greenery. By planting them all together like that, it's supposed to help with the critter population, like the kind of bugs that you don't want in your garden. That's not to say that they will eliminate the bugs, but certain plants the bugs will cater to certain plants so that the bugs don't get on other plants that you don't want them on. So that's the hope there. The plans coming up to work on getting as I mentioned earlier, getting the corn planted. And I realized as I was reviewing this video, I've had the corn sitting out on the porch table for about a week. So it's kind of getting used to those cold nights, and it doesn't seem to have hurt it any. So maybe tomorrow I will go out and actually plant those. And I could, I'll just put that in a regular video, so watch for it. And then out on my area that I call the mound, I did some, in my last video I showed you where I was preparing the ground. Last year I had tomatoes and corn out there, so I'm not planting. I might plant some tomato, but not exactly in the same spot. But the corn's not going to go there this year. I'm focusing on perennial flowers, really, is what I'm doing out in that area. But I will stick some tomatoes and maybe some basil out there also. Edible stuff that I have out there, I have a Jerusalem artichoke. I have a lot of calendula, and the calendula flowers are used, where you don't just eat them, but you use them. You can make tea, or you can use them medicinally to make salves and that sort of thing. And I have lots of cat mint, which you can use for tea. And I have peppermint and sweet mint. The sweet mint looks a little more like spearmint, but it's a mint. I mean, well, obviously, they're both mints, but I prefer the chocolate mint. But all of those things are important. And as you're learning to garden, each year I learn more. And I'm hoping that I'm sharing what I'm learning with you. Sometimes I find it a little tricky to know exactly how to put into words what I'm doing. And I just plug along because what I need is raised beds, but that's probably not going to happen. There are certain things I just can't do by myself, and hubby's not interested. I mean, he likes the fact that I do it, but he doesn't really want to be much of a part of it. So, and I didn't show you, I got carrots and radish and beets and coriander, or cilantro, and lettuce coming up in one area. And cauliflower. And you did see, although I didn't mention what you were looking at, a bunch of onions. So I have an onion patch. And I can plug in a few other things into the onion patch as I go along too, for companion plants. So as for me helping you garden, what I really need you to do is, in the comments, ask me questions. And I can do my best to help answer your questions. My gardening is so little compared to a lot of you that giving you specific growing instructions tends to be a little awkward. But I love trying to help you with what you're doing. So please ask me questions. So I think I will go ahead and close this video and hope that you did learn something from me. That's my goal. Whether I'm good at it or not. I spent my whole career being a teacher, but I wasn't I wasn't teaching how to plant things. And standing in front of a room teaching about things is a whole lot easier than demonstrating how to do things. And being able to video it at the same time is extremely awkward. But like I said, I love trying to do it. And I'm so glad that you're coming along to watch me and to garden with me. I learn from you, and you learn from me, and we all learn together. Will it grow? You're darn tootin' it will. We'll see you in the next video, whether it be a SHEDWARS video, or whether it just be a plain old video, or even if it's one of my shorts. We'll see you next time. May the good Lord richly bless you. May your garden be wonderful and marvelous and bountiful. May you always seek the truth. Darlene, signing out.